Not at all.
Live from the Quest headquarters, it's the Northwoods Assembly Bible Study with PB&G, where if you miss a little,
You miss a lot.
Like the fact that
eulogy.
you're wearing the right shirt for that phone call we just had.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And in case you ever wondered, eulogy, it means praise in Greek. So when you eulogize somebody,
Words of praise?
Words of praise, yeah.
Nice.
So if you talk about how bad they were, it's not really a eulogy. So if you ever, wonder what that was all about, you'll always wonder.
So if eulogy is words of praise, then the words of disdain are what?
I don't know.
Well, let's look it up.
Okay.
I
don't know what's
just so we know what they're saying at our funeral.
At our funeral, yeah. It's like, I don't know what mine's gonna be. Huh? What's the opposite of eulogy?
Yeah, who's gonna write the
the
flush?
Like the goldfish. Yep.
Yes. I don't know what's happening right now.
I have no idea.
We've gone astray. We're gonna try to finish the book of Esther if we can get on track tonight. So
come on, little duckies.
Yes. This is pre-recorded again. There is no chat feature here, so you won't be able to say mean things about us or interact
just
or
nobody else
mock us or laugh or anything. If you had questions, Gary would get the hard ones. I would get the easy ones. But tonight we are both off the hook for that.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm going to say that, we do have live Bible studies here. You can come to the church during Bible study while it's being recorded, participate. You could be one of these people that we're watching eat ice cream while we sit here and talk.
Yes.
Saying.
And I also have some ideas after we're done here that I can just briefly show you for our new live stream studio downstairs.
Okay.
So I think it'll be fun, and I think you'll like what I have in mind.
All right.
So,
well, there you go.
All right. Okay. And there'll be more room for people to
come and eat ice cream while we do Bible study.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct. So
good.
Wow. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. We're looking over the peanut gallery here in the room, and they're eating ice cream.
Hey, listen to throwing it.
And we aren't eating. And so that's just doesn't feel right to me.
Working hard.
To me. Okay. So Gary will open us with prayer and we'll get started. Only took us 3 minutes.
Well, that's a record. We're flying.
Are we?
God, tonight, just thank you for your people and your word, and the fact that we can get into it, talk about it, revel in it, see your hand, and see who people were, who people are, and just learn a little about ourselves in this process. Lord, just bless your people in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
Esther. We are going to finish up Esther, and however long that takes, that'll be it for the night.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We left with a cliffhanger.
We did.
This story has been so good. If you're picking up here, go back. This is Ruth and Esther. They've been great.
Yeah.
And this is a lot of fun. This is just like this should have been an Academy Award winning movie.
There's a couple of books, in the Bible. If you just really like a good story, I mean, Esther is one. I mean, there's drama, there's intrigue, there's
the villain, the hero, the will they make it? It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Esther's really a good story.
It is.
There's a lot here. So when we left, Haman had to parade Mordecai around, who was his arch nemesis.
Yeah.
And kind of got humiliated. And then he had this banquet that he was supposed to go to with Esther, the queen, and the king. And now we left right there.
Yeah, and it's funny because Haman was all upset because Mordecai wouldn't give him the time of day. Mordecai wouldn't bow to him or give him the due respect that he deserved. And and Haman's sitting up on his horse looking down at Mordecai, and now positions have been reversed.
Right.
And now Mordecai's on the horse looking down on Haman, and Haman has to say good things about him all over town. And it's eating him up, just chewing up his insides.
Yeah.
Oh, he's just...
So he went home and he told his wife how it was eating him up.
Yeah.
And as he was doing that, the people came to summon him to take him to the banquet. So he was kind of in suspense. So we just kind of left Haman hanging since last week.
No pun intended.
Yeah,
Pun intended.
So we'll pick it up in chapter 7. Now the king and Haman came to drink wine with Esther the queen. And the king said to Esther on the second day also, as they drank their wine at the banquet, "What is your petition, Queen Esther? It shall be granted you. And what is your request? Even to half the kingdom it shall be done." Then Queen Esther replied, "If I have found favor in your sight, O king, and if it pleases the king, let my life be given to me as my petition and my people as my request."
So,
What do you mean?
right, what is she saying? In mine it says, then Queen Esther answered, "If I found favor with you, O king, and if it pleases your majesty, grant me my life. This is my petition, and spare my people. This is my request." So he says, "What do you want?" And she says, "Don't kill me and don't kill my people.
Yeah.
That's my request."
Yeah.
That's it.
And the king's like,
What?
"What are you talking about?"
Esther, are you okay? What's going on?
Yeah.
Did you fall?
Yeah.
What's happening?
I know nothing. What she's talking about.
Yeah.
And that's just exactly the way it's supposed to be. I mean, the way she puts it to him is perfect, because he's got to be thinking, somebody threaten you? You tell me who threatened you.
And he's going to easily say, "Well, of course I won't kill you or your people." And then the words are out of his mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. So he does.
Yeah.
So in verse 4, "For we have been sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be killed, and be annihilated. Now, if only we had been sold as slaves, men and women, I'd have remained silent, for the trouble would not be commensurate with the annoyance to the king." Like, if we were just slaves, king, I wouldn't have bothered you, But we were sold to be killed. And it's interesting, if you remember back when Haman came in and talked to the king and got this edict, Haman offered him, like, I don't know, 50 tons of silver or something ridiculous for this.
Yes.
So when he says we've been sold, the king didn't take his money, but that offer was made way back then. And also, it seems weird, the language, "We've been sold, I made people to be killed and destroyed and annihilated," but those are the exact words that Haman asked to be put in that edict. So when the king heard those exact words, it had to trigger in his mind, wait a minute, that sounds familiar.
Yep. Been sold for destruction, slaughter, and annihilation. Yes. She's quoting back the words that have been applied to her. And you're right. The king's got to be like, wait a minute.
I've heard that before.
Yep.
Yeah. So then verse 5. Then King Ahasuerus asked Queen Esther, "Who is he and where is he? Who would presume to do this?" And Esther said, "A foe and an enemy is this wicked Haman."
Wow. So the king is like, who would dare to harm my hot wife that won the beauty pageant and all of her family? What in the world? She's the queen. Who would say that? And he's a little hot. And it's like, dude, you already agreed to this, but he doesn't even know that.
Right?
Until she says,
Haman.
Haman. All of a sudden the light goes
Haman. On. And Haman, for his part, doesn't know she's a Jew.
No, and he's surprised to hear his name as the bad guy at a banquet in his honor. He's not, this is just, his brain's got to be spinning. He's like, what is happening in my life right now?
Yep. This says, then Haman became terrified before the king and the queen. It's like, I may have just overplayed my hand.
It's like, this chick has outplayed me. She has outplayed me.
Wait, she's a Jew.
Oops.
I think I'm in trouble.
I should probably do my research before I act on my emotions.
Maybe. Maybe.
Not that that's the case in our world today.
Well, nobody does that. They're guided solely by logic.
Correct.
That's what press conferences are for. Go out there and tell a lie, cover my butt,
The king arose in his anger from drinking wine and went into the palace. He gets up and he storms off. He went into the palace garden, but Haman stayed to beg for his life from Queen Esther, for he saw that harm had been determined against him by the king. It's like, king got up, stormed out of the room. He's like,
the king's had some wine and he's mad, and he gets up and he goes out in the garden to sift through this.
He's
in
furious.
His head.
He is.
Yes.
Furious. Yeah. So he storms off. And so Haman decides to grovel. And what most likely happens is you would to beg someone, then you would have like fallen, she would have had this couch that they would have been like reclining on for their banquet, whatever. And he probably fell at her feet, like to kiss her feet, beg.
Well, I love it.
Mercy.
Yeah, because it's Haman realizing that the king had already decided his fate. I mean, he knows that this is done. This is the situation, and the king's gonna kill me. And so because he knows that, he thinks the only person left that is going to have any influence on the king at all is Esther. And like you said, he drops down and he's begging her to tell the king to spare me. Don't let him kill me. Esther, please.
And if Haman wasn't so caught up in the emotion of this moment, I wonder, at a distance, if some part of him wouldn't have, what he would have thought of the irony that he's kneeling and begging before a Jew.
Yeah.
Whom he hated so much.
Yeah, it's like twice today I've had to do this. What is happening to me?
Yeah, this is not your day.
No,
this is not your day.
Okay, well, don't play chess with God then.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to tell you. Did you really think you were going to win? No.
Yeah. No. So he's begging. He's at her knees, kissing her feet, whatever he's doing. And verse 8, now when the king returned from the palace garden into the place where they were drinking wine, Haman was falling on the couch where Esther was. And the king said, will he even assault the queen with me in the house?
Yeah, so he's up there. He's like, Esther, please. And the king walks in and sees this with him laying there on the couch begging when he's in contact with Esther. And he's thinking, what, now you're trying to put your moves on my wife while I'm out there? This is getting worse by the second.
You remember the king wouldn't let anybody in his harem around his wives except for eunuchs.
Yes.
They didn't trust.
Yep.
This is
not looking. Not now. You're touching my wife behind my back.
Yeah.
What are you doing, buddy?
And as the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face, which sounds a little bit odd, but that's what they did when they were leading you away to execution.
Yeah.
They put the hood on you.
Yeah, it's sort of like they black bagged his head.
Yeah.
Yep. You're done.
And,
you're done.
Haman knows for sure when that happens. Like it's all over, buddy.
Man.
You're on your way.
I just saw the last light I'll ever see.
It's a long black train.
Yes, it is. Yep. Drop him off at the train station.
Yep. So they put the bag on his head. Then Harbona, one of the king's eunuchs, who were before the king, said, behold,
Harbona sounds like an Italian sub shop.
It does. And that's it's actually his name is mentioned way back in chapter 1 when it talks about the 7 eunuchs. He's one of them back then too.
Yes.
Harbona. It kind of does, yeah. And he must not have been a friend of Haman's either, because he says that one of the king's eunuchs before the king said, behold, indeed, the gallows standing at Haman's house 50 cubits high.
These are guys, though, that have spent their time hanging around Esther.
Yeah.
And they have developed a loyalty to Esther. They like Esther. She's a good person. And they probably have been around Haman enough to know that he stinks like himself.
Yeah.
He's in love with his own smell, and they know that. And so they are like, this is fantastic. He's finally going to get what he's deserved all along. And oh yeah, by the way, there's those big gallows out there that Haman built.
Yeah.
They're reveling in it, probably. Yeah. I mean,
and it's like any job site or any job or office, whatever. There's things that everybody knows except for the boss. Everybody talks about, except they don't tell the boss.
Well, yeah, yeah. Oh, so that's a daily basis where I'm at.
It's just the way it works.
People in the shop, somebody in the shop will come up to you and say, "Do you know what's going on?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Well, everybody on the floor is talking about. It's like, I don't know anything.
No,
don't know a thing.
No, and that's what's going on here.
Yeah, and apparently it wasn't important enough to come and tell me.
So the king doesn't know how much Haman hated Mordecai.
Right.
And this guy speaks up and he says, behold, indeed, the gallows standing at Haman's house 50 cubits high, which Haman made for Mordecai, who spoke good on behalf of the king. It's like he's enjoying this too. He's like, all right, Haman, here's your chance. You want it, you got it.
Mordecai has done great things for the king. And in the last day, Haman has done some not good things for the king. So all of a sudden, Haman thinks these are the scales, and in a matter of hours, they're like this now. And he's like, what happened?
It's all right. Yeah, Mordecai got lifted up before the people. Now it's your turn.
Yes. Yes. Oh.
Uh-huh. So the king said, hang him on it. So they hanged Haman on the gallows, which he had prepared for Mordecai. and the king's anger subsided. So last week we saw the big reward Haman made up, thinking it was for him, went to Mordecai. And now the gallows or the pole that was made for Mordecai goes to Haman.
Yeah. Oof.
It's like God was paying attention or something.
Yes, the very vehicle of death that I had constructed to kill my enemy is the very one that kills me. There's spiritual lesson there.
Yeah.
You spend all your time and all your energy and all your hate and all your vile and all your unforgiveness towards someone, and it's going to turn around and destroy you. That's why forgiveness is so incredibly important. It's very, very hard to do, but there's a story of that in here as well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So,
all right. Chapter 8. On that day, King Ahasuerus gave the house of Haman, the enemy of the Jews, to Queen Esther. And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had disclosed what he was to her. The king took off his signet ring, which he had taken away from Haman, and he gave it to Mordecai. And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman. So this essentially is the king saying, okay, you're the grand vizier, you're the prime minister now,
yes.
Mordecai.
Yep. His house and all of his property and his wealth and his money, everything that he had, you are now in that position, and that's all yours now.
Yeah. And that's, as much of a conflict of interest as we would see in that today. That's the way it worked then, is if the king declared that you needed to be executed, then everything you had was the king's.
Yes.
It was just, just took it.
Yeah.
So here he gives it to Esther.
Yeah, it was eminent domain. They just took what they wanted.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, and Esther puts Mordecai over it, and then the king puts Mordecai over everything else. Verse 3. Then she said, if it pleases the king, and if I found favor before him, and the matter seems proper to the king, and I am pleasing in his sight, let it be written to revoke the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews who are in all the king's provinces.
So he's referring to those edicts, those letters that were written and sent out to all the provinces. That's what he's referring to when he says the letters.
Yeah. And she's very diplomatic about this, but it wasn't as great as it was. This wasn't about Haman. This wasn't about Esther, and it wasn't about Mordecai. There's all the rest of the Jews. This is what this is really about.
Yeah. So he has a new edict written that cancels the old one, and has that sent out throughout the land to say that edict Haman wrote is no good.
Yeah. Well, it almost. In verse 6 is, for how can I endure to see the calamity which will befall my people? And how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred? So King Ahasuerus said to Queen Esther and to Mordecai the Jew, behold, I have given the house of Haman to Esther, and him they have hanged on the gallows because he has stretched out his hand against the Jews. Now you write to the Jews as you see fit in the name of the king, in the king's name, and seal it with the king's signet ring. For a decree which is written in the name of the king and sealed with the king's signet ring may not be revoked.
Which is what happened with the first letters.
So they couldn't just say, okay, cancel it.
Right.
It was unrevocable. So instead, they had to write something that would counteract it. They had to get around it somehow. So verse 9, so the king's scribes were called at that time in the third month, on the 23rd day, and it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded to the Jews, the satraps, the governors, princes, and princes of the provinces which extended from India to Ethiopia, 127 provinces, to every province according to its script, and to every people according to their language, as well as to the Jews according to their script and their language.
So he writes it to them in their own language, because again, his kingdom is vast. We showed it on the map. It's this giant hunk of land. So
so he says, okay, write something that's going to counteract this. So you take care of it.
The legal experts are in there.
Yeah,
they're a bunch of lawyers.
Yeah,
yes, and they're trying to figure out a legal way to void a contract. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, and they're good.
They're good. They just got to figure out, okay, how can we, because they had a system of laws set up.
Yep.
Even though the king basically did whatever he wanted. And they said, okay, get around the laws. Figure it out, guys. Just do it. So I'm going to go over here and eat some grapes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he wrote in the name of King Ahasuerus and sealed it with the king's signet ring, and sent letters by couriers on horses, riding on steeds sired by the royal stud. In them the king granted the Jews who are in each and every city the right to assemble and defend their lives, to destroy, to kill, to annihilate the entire army of any people or province which might attack them, including children and women, and to plunder their spoil. On the day in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, the 13th day of the 12th month, that is the month of Adar. So he couldn't repeal it. So he said, you have the right to assemble, which must have been something they didn't have the right to do.
Yeah.
And then
to assemble and do what? To assemble and fight back.
Yeah. So basically,
and fight back with vehemence. And if you win, you get the spoils.
Yeah.
You get, if some rich guy attacks you and you killed him, you get all this stuff.
Mhm.
King says.
So basically, he empowers all the Jews to get together and form a little Jewish army inside Persia.
So that now all the Jews can look at all those other people who were thinking, oh, when that day comes, I'm so getting him. Now they're like, wait a minute, they can get
fight
me
back
now. And so
Yeah.
it almost it's a little bit of they stand back. The people who want to kill the Jews are taking a step back now.
Yeah. Then they're only allowed to do this in self-defense, obviously.
Yes.
But if you notice, that same language comes up again. The same as the original edict, the same thing that Esther mentioned, to kill, annihilate, and destroy.
Yeah.
We're giving the Jews now this opportunity. We gave you the right to go to this to the Jews. Well, now we're telling the Jews they can do this to you.
All of a sudden, it's a cage match.
Yeah.
And so, oops. Yeah.
Yeah, he's empowering them to.
And God really likes his people. And whenever there's a fight, his people are the winners.
It kind of seems to work that way, doesn't it? It kind of does.
So,
a copy of the edict to be issued as law in each and every province was published to all the peoples, so the Jews would be ready for the day to avenge themselves on their enemies. So everybody had time to get ready. And this was when the Esther's banquet and that stuff. And actually, they say in the beginning, when they had the banquet, Esther got chosen, they called it Esther's banquet, but the real Esther's banquet happens later.
Yes, it's coming.
That was 2 months and 10 days after the original decree of Haman. So now there's several months between that and the actual 12th of Adar when all this was going to happen.
Right.
13th, I mean. So 14, the couriers hastened and impelled by the king's command went out riding on the royal steeds, and the decree was given out at the citadel in Susa.
So Pony Express hit the trail and delivered the
exactly
mail. Yes.
Yep. He went out and tell them all. 15, then Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal robes of blue and white, with a large crown of gold and a garment of fine linen and purple. And the city of Susa shouted and rejoiced. And we saw before, the city was perplexed when this first edict came out to kill all the Jews. And they're like,
where did that come from? What did we do?
Now the city's happy to see Mordecai where he is. And it's funny because Haman, this is all he wanted was to come to royal robes, blue and with a crown on his head. And all that. I mean, this is all he wanted his whole life. And then Mordecai was not what he wanted to save the Jews.
Yeah. Mordecai was just like, I just want to be with the people I love and keep them safe.
Yeah. So all of Haman seeking this royal robes led to him hanging, and all of Mordecai's being humble and serving led to his royal robes.
And it's God does this. He took David and made him king. He Solomon, what do you want? I want wisdom to govern your people. Well, then I'm going to give you all of these riches and stuff too. And that's kind of what he does here with Mordecai. Mordecai's goal is just to keep God's people safe. And God's like, I love that. I love your heart. And now I'm going to give you all kinds of stuff on top of it that you didn't even ask for. Mm-hmm. It's good.
Yeah. I mean, just seek God and not the thing, and the thing will come,
Yeah.
Also, the people that were cheering for Mordecai, I'm guessing that Haman probably treated everybody
I would imagine.
really badly, and so they were happy.
He was the bully.
He was the bully.
He was like the Biff in Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm.
When the manure truck got dumped on him, everyone's like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Take me fly.
Yeah, right. It's just a bully. So
yeah, you're right.
9.
Right. Yeah. Chapter 9. We didn't quite finish that. For verse 16, for the Jews There was light and gladness and joy and honor in each and every province and in each and every city wherever the king's commandment and his decree arrived, there was gladness and joy for the Jews, and a feast and a holiday. And many among the peoples of the land became Jews, for dread of the Jews had fallen on them. So even people start to follow the Jewish faith because of this. They're like,
Oh, God,
well, if your
through the
God could do
church.
that,
Yes.
tell me more.
Yeah, and they make it a national holiday.
Yeah, and actually, we'll read on in the next
Get
chapter.
into
It's
that.
like this is like one of the main points for the writing of this book is to explain their holiday of Purim.
Yes.
Yeah. So in chapter 9, now in the 12th month, that is month Adar, on the 13th day, when the king's command and edict were about to be executed, on the day when the enemies of the Jews hoped to gain the mastery over them, it was turned to the contrary, so that the Jews themselves gained the mastery of those who had hated them.
Again, historically, that's what happens in
Egypt.
Yeah. Well, yeah, in Egypt it happened, and again, you look at the nation of Israel since 1948, and again, the number of times they've been attacked by 3, 4, 5 surrounding countries, far outgunned, and by the end of the battle, they've defeated every single one of them and taken their land. It's like God has, yeah, they get the upper hand.
Time and
God
time
gives them
again,
the upper hand.
Israel's not the aggressor.
No,
but they end up with more than they started with.
Yep, which is exactly what happens here. It's a
if
theme.
I was living next to them, I'd just leave them alone.
Pretty much. Yeah. I'd have
leave
them over
them
for
alone.
dinner. I would invite them over for dinner and make friends.
Yeah, you
Yep,
think?
Yep.
Yeah. 2, the Jews assembled in their cities throughout all the provinces of King Ahasuerus to lay hands on those who sought them harm. And no one could stand before them, for the dread of them had fallen on all the people. Even all the princes of the provinces, the satraps, the governors, and those who were doing the king's business assisted the Jews because the dread of Mordecai had fallen on them.
Wow.
See, not only were they empowered to defend themselves, but they kind of had official sanction at this point. And they're like, "Oh, you need some more swords? Oh, here you go.
Yeah.
So you need some shields? Oh, yeah, I have some shields."
Yeah, because this edict about the Jews saying if anyone attacks you, you can wipe them out. That's still standing.
Yeah,
that's still out there. And from day to day to day, it's like now they're like, wait a minute, if we bully the Jews, they have full authority of the king to whack us.
Yeah.
And so let's not do that. Let's make friends with them.
And not only that, but I mean, now they know Mordecai is standing in Haman's shoes.
They have one of their own in a position of real power.
Yeah, it's like, well, if we get after the Jews, well, if Mordecai hears about it, we don't want that.
Yes.
Yeah. So thus the Jews, in verse 5, thus the Jews struck all their enemies with the sword, killing and destroying, and they did what they pleased to those who had hated them. At the citadel in Susa, the Jews killed and destroyed 500 men. And Parshandatha and Dalphon, Aspatha, Poratha, Idalia, Aridatha, Parmashta, Arisai, Aradai, and Vyazatha, the 10 sons of Haman the Hamathite.
I just want you to know, Gary, that I take such great joy in those last few words. I want you to read them again so everyone can get.
If anybody out there speaks this language, they're probably cringing when I try to read that.
I thought you were having a stroke right there, Gary. I was going to call 911.
Why don't you guys just say the dude's 10 sons? I don't know why they got to put their names in there.
Oh, and again, those are such beautiful names. Anyone out there who's having a child, just consider these. Consider some of these. Bring them back. Bring back the good old names.
Or they could have called them Parsha, Dal.
Yeah, nicknames.
Hammy, Parma.
Something nice. Something nice.
Anyway.
Think what your eternity is going to look like when you meet all these guys in heaven. Hi, you killed my name, and this is what it really is. You really have all 10 of them lined up.
He's going to say,
"Hi, remember me?" Eternity to apologize.
Yeah, he'll say, "Hi, Gary. I'm Dell."
Hi, Gary.
Nice. All right. Anyway, let's get
the 10 sons of Haman, the Jews' enemies, but they did not lay hands on the plunder. And we'll see this again. The Jews weren't interested in the money. They weren't. All they wanted to do was defend themselves.
Yeah, they just wanted to be free and left alone.
Yeah, they weren't looking to gain on this. So, verse 11. On that day, the number of those who were killed at the citadel of Susa was reported to the king. And the king said to Queen Esther, the Jews have killed and destroyed 500 men and the 10 sons of Haman at the citadel in Susa. What then have they done in the rest of the king's provinces? Now, what is your petition? Even it shall be granted to you. And what is your further request? It also shall be done. Then as said Esther, if it pleases the king, let tomorrow also be granted to the Jews who are in Susa to do according to the edict of today. And let Haman's 10 sons be hanged on the gallows. So the king commanded that it should be done so. And an edict was issued in Susa, and Haman's 10 sons were hanged.
Okay, this is very reminiscent of what a king would do. If they overthrew a king, they would kill all of his family so that there would be no right to claim a throne back. So any of Haman's sons who may have had any hate for the Jews and maybe start trouble at any point down the road, now they're all gone, and that problem is solved.
Yeah, and it doesn't say, this edict doesn't say, okay, now the Jews go out and kill who you ever want tomorrow. It says, again, defend yourselves.
Yes.
So then if the people come against the Jews tomorrow, well, then you can kill them tomorrow too.
Yeah.
But it was very common when the guys are dead, why would they hang them? It's a message. And that was, like you said last week, Vlad the Impaler. That was a message. That was the whole point, was people would see these 10 men hanging there and know that's what happens if you go after the Jews.
That's right.
Don't do it.
That's right.
And it was very common for kings to do that. Rome would do that. They'd come into a city and they hang the most prominent people out in front of the city just to set the tone. This is what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
And if there's going to be a rebellion, it's most likely going to involve those prominent people. So we'll hang them right from the get-go.
Fear is a very effective weapon.
So
That
that
was
was
all the generals.
Yeah.
This is what the people that had power. This is what we did to them. You're
Yeah.
just a peasant in the street.
Yeah,
just
you don't
get
have.
out.
Yep.
You don't have a prayer.
Yep,
Yep.
exactly.
Stand down and relax,
Yeah.
everybody. Yep. Okay, keep going.
So 15. So the Jews who were in Susa assembled also on the 14th day of the month of Adar, and they killed 300 men in Susa, but they did not lay hands on their plunder. So again, I'm not looking for money.
Yep.
Now the rest of the Jews who were in the king's provinces assembled to defend their lives and rid themselves of their enemies, and kill 75,000 of those who hated them, but they did not lay hands on their plunder. And this was done on the 13th day of the month of Adar, and on the 14th day they rested and made it a day of feasting and rejoicing.
They took care of a lot of their enemies legitimately. Yes.
Yeah. And verse 18, but the Jews who were in Susa assembled on the 13th and 14th day of the same month, and they rested on the 15th day and made a day of feasting and rejoicing. Therefore, the Jews of the rural areas who lived in the rural towns make the 14th day of Adar a holiday for rejoicing and feasting and sending portions of food to one another. So, verse 20, then Mordecai recorded these events. Then he sent letters to all the Jews who were in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, both near and far, obliging them to celebrate on the 14th day of the month of Adar and the 15th day of the same month annually, because on those days the Jews rid themselves of their enemies, and it was a month which was turned for them from sorrow into gladness and from mourning into a holiday, that they should make themselves a day of feasting and rejoicing and sending portions of food to one another and gifts to the poor. Thus the Jews undertook what they had started to do, and what Mordecai had written to them. For Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, the adversary of all the Jews, had schemed against the Jews to destroy them, and he had cast Pur, and that is the lot, to disturb them and to destroy them. But when it came to the king's attention, he commanded by letter that his wicked scheme, which he had devised against the Jews, should return on his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows. Therefore, they call these days Purim, after the name of Pur. And because of the instructions in this letter, both what they had seen in this regard and what had happened to them, the Jews established and made a custom for themselves and for their descendants and for all those who allied themselves with them, so that they would not fail to celebrate these 2 days according to the regulation and according to their appointed time annually. So that's where this comes from.
So poor were casting lots.
Yep.
Sort of like rolling the dice. And so Purim was sort of like we rolled the dice and won, kind of
Mhm.
celebration. We took the chance, going with Esther. We put it out there and we won.
Yep.
And we got victory through God. We trusted Him. We put it out there. We rolled the dice and won. And we're going to celebrate that day, and it's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they still celebrate it.
Yeah.
In 28. So these days were to be remembered and celebrated throughout every generation, every family, every province, every city. And these days of Purim were not to fail. From among the Jews. They celebrate it. They fast first, just as Esther fasted.
Yep. It's a way. These holidays, Jewish holidays, are a way to remember something, and so the things that they do in it have a purpose. Like when we do Passover, everything's got a purpose and is connected to something. So even here, the fact that they're using this holiday to tell a story, and part of that story was Esther fasted before she went before the king. So that's all included in this festival, is a story of our salvation, which again, wow, that's fantastic, right?
Yeah. Chapter 10. Now King Ahasuerus laid a tribute on the land and on the coastlines of the sea. So he's taking taxes because he's the king, and that's what he do. And all the accomplishments of his authority and strength, and the full account of the greatness of Mordecai, to which the king advanced him, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Media and Persia? For Mordecai the Jew was second only to the king Ahasuerus, and great among the Jews, and in favor with his many kinsmen, one who sought the good of his people, and one who spoke for the welfare of his whole nation. The end.
And they lived happily ever after.
Yeah.
Well, not really.
They lived happily for a while.
For a
at
while,
least,
until
they didn't live no more.
Right. So, all right. That was great. And again, just the picture of God's salvation in the midst of incredible, trials and tribulations. And He's there, and He cares, and He's powerful, and He moves. And if we just listen and follow Him and lean into Him, and we talk about it every Saturday, trust that you're more than the day. And there was some bad stuff coming, and they overcame every bit of it and ended up far better off than they could have possibly imagined.
Yeah.
That's the story for us too. So
yeah. And you said you're more than a day, and we talked about this a little bit last night, and you may hear about this, out there one of these Saturdays coming up soon. But you may feel like what God has given you is more than you can take.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw earlier this week somewhere something that really stuck with me, and it said, you're not enough. And neither was 5 loaves and 2 fish.
No.
That's the point. You're not supposed to be enough.
Mhm.
Esther was just some girl out in the the hay thatch doing whatever, and until they came and said, "Hey, you're pretty, come with us," and look where she wound up.
Man, that's good preaching, Gary. On our own, we are not enough, but with Christ, we are more than enough.
If we were enough, we'd be like Haman, and God wouldn't be able to use us.
No, exactly. If we were enough, then we wouldn't need salvation. But we can never be enough.
No. And it's only once we realize that we're useful.
Yeah. It's excellent. It's good preaching.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. All right. Well, you ready? 3, 2, 1. Hi, Carol.
I wasn't sure where you're going.
Oh,
I think you got
let's do it again.
Hi, Carol.
No,
Okay.
we got to do it together. She's expecting it.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Hello,
Hi,
Carol.
And it says hello.
Okay, we'll do hi. Okay, we'll do it again. She loves this.
You threw me when you said she was
She's
expecting.
watching. She loves it. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Hi, Carol. Oh, that was perfect.
That was seamless, just like that. Whew,
Seamless.
We'll record that and just play it back every week.
that was
All right.
easy.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll see you on Saturday night. Best restaurant in town. We got the best family there. Come and see us. Be a part of it.
And hey, come early and do the Truth Project.
Yes, the Truth Project is happening at 4.
Mhm.
4, I believe.
4
yeah.
o'clock.
4 to 5.
4 to 5
Oh,
downstairs.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Then you come up and eat.
you come up and eat some food.
Yep.
Have some coffee, and then get the word.
If you want to
That'd be
know
fantastic.
about the Bible, if you want to know about the truth of God's word, this Bible study and this material is second to none. It is fantastic
Yeah, it's
material.
good stuff.
Yes. Del Tackett. Amazing. So with that, we're going to sign off and we'll see you in the sanctuary.
Yeah. Well.
Thanks for coming. 3, 2, 1. Good night.